Thank you all for joining. Let's get started. Q&A, please send your questions via the Q&A function. Rosa Osorio, a Senior Account Manager, will be available to answer in real time. Disclaimer. As the host of this meeting, Merriwether & Williams Insurance Services reserves the right to remove anyone participating or engaging in behavior that is either inappropriate or a distraction to the proceedings. Persons involved in such behavior will be immediately removed from this meeting and not allowed to rejoin. On the panel, we have representatives from Los Angeles County Public Works, Los Angeles County Department of Economic Opportunity, Metro, and the Contractor Development and Bonding Program. Presentations, contact information, and a recording of this webinar will be made available to all attendees. To introduce Supervisor and Metro Board Member Sheila Kuehl, please welcome President and CEO of Merriwether & Williams Insurance Services, Ingrid Merriwether.
Great, thank you, Mildred and the rest of our team. And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. We're so happy that you decided to join us today for our discussion about participation and opportunities to do business with the County of LA. We're so happy that we're doing this in concert with Supervisor Kuehl, and I'm going to introduce her by sharing some information about her. I think it's really important for all of us to understand that the folks that we, look to lead the efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion, contracting equity, opportunity, all of that, they really reflect and have a history of advocating for the interest of folks, small businesses, minorities, those who have kind of been underrepresented, and that is absolutely the case with the supervisor. So let me share a little bit about Supervisor Kuehl. As a member of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, she's led the way and worked on many initiatives and motions to improve people's lives and reform systems. I kind of underscore reform systems because really that's when you're talking about equity and inclusion, it requires reforming systems because systemic infrastructure that prevents access to opportunities have to be addressed if you're going to create more equity. Before her service on the board, Supervisor Kuehl served 8 years in the California State Senate and 6 years in the California State Assembly. She was the first woman in California history to be named Speaker pro tempore of the Assembly. She served as chair of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee, Natural Resources and Water Committee, and Budget Subcommittee on Water, Energy, Transportation, as well as the Assembly Judiciary Committee. She successfully advanced single-payer health insurance through the legislature twice. She authored 171 bills. So this is clearly a working elected official that were signed into law, including legislation to establish paid family leave and nurse-to-patient ratios in hospitals. She also authored protections for the Santa Monica Mountains, as well as anti-discrimination legislation based on gender and disability in the workplace and sexual orientation in education. So again, underscoring that this is a person who is an advocate and kind of walks the talks in addressing kind of underserved, under-recognized communities. Prior to serving in the legislature as a public interest attorney, Supervisor Kuehl drafted and fought to get into law more than 40 pieces of legislation relating to children, families, women, and domestic violence. She was a law professor at Loyola, UCLA, and USC Schools of Law, in addition to co-founding and serving as managing attorney of the California Women's Law Center. She was also the founding director of Public Policy Institute at Santa Monica College and was a Regents Professor in Public Policy at the UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs. Supervisor Kuehl graduated from Harvard School in 1978. In her youth, she was known for her portrayal of the irrepressible Zelda Gilroy in the television series The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Now, I happen to be of an age that I actually know what that show was and watched it in my youth. I'm probably one of the few here who recognize that. But just another element of the dimensions of the supervisor that, you know, is of course fascinating. So with that, I'd like to introduce the supervisor.
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's workshop to help small and diverse contractors compete for county contracts. I'm LA County 3rd District Supervisor Sheila Kuehl, and I'm also a member of this county's Metro Board of Directors. So here's why I'm so glad you're here. Los Angeles has a booming construction sector that will grow even more in the future. And LA is the host of the 2028 Olympics, so there will be Olympics-related construction projects moving forward in the next couple of years. And Measure M, approved by the county voters 6 years ago, will generate $120 billion for infrastructure projects over the next 40 years. Measure M made possible the most ambitious infrastructure expansion in the country. LA County's Regional Contractor Development and Bonding Program is the key to helping you take advantage of all of this growth. This afternoon, you'll hear about services, benefits, and learn the fundamentals of bonding and why it's necessary. The Merriwether and Williams team is the county's administrator for this program and will guide you through these services. LA County's Department of Public Works will share information about their certification process, which is a critical element in obtaining contracts, and will also cover upcoming construction opportunities. Finally, you will also hear from Metro on how to do business with the county's transportation agency. So today is about demystifying the procurement process with public agencies and helping you grow your business and share your know-how with the LA County. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Kuehl, for your words. We so appreciate what you have to share, and moreover, just your advocacy in making sure that there is equity in access to contract opportunities, both with the county and with LA Metro. As you heard, the supervisor is in a governing position with each organization. So with that, I think we're going to move to the next aspect of our program. And we try to break this up a little bit because it's some dense information. So we share information about the Contractor Development and Bonding Program that you heard mentioned by the supervisor, and we'll do it in 2 segments. I'll do the first half and my colleague will do the second half. And in between, you'll hear from some other folks who have something to share with you. So if you can go ahead and advance the slide, thank you. So really, before I tell you a little bit about us, just understand that really the purpose of the Los Angeles Contractor Development and Bonding Program is to really remove the barriers that make it more challenging for small, diverse, minority, women-owned, otherwise underutilized Los Angeles-based firms to more equitably have access to participate, to compete, and to successfully be awarded and complete contracts with the sponsors of the program, which are LA County, LA Metro, and the City of LA. And so the program's been in place for 16 years. You're going to hear from some folks today who've been enrolled in the program and for whom it's made a difference. And so we're really working in concert with the agency's initiatives around more diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as you heard from the supervisor, the significant amount of upcoming construction-related activity that's going to be happening over the next few years. So there's, I can tell you, there will be more demand than there is of you to respond to the demand. The demand for small, diverse contractors is only going to grow. And so that means it's an opportunity for you to be positioned, to be prepared, to be ready, to take advantage of what are literally billions of dollars of construction opportunity. And when you think about goals that many of these agencies have, whether it's 25%, which is kind of a consensus number, 25% that go to small LA-based diverse businesses. 25% of billions of dollars is billions of dollars. And so this is really one of those historical opportunities, those moment in time that if you make a commitment to getting your business in position, and that could mean whether you just got your contractor's license or whether you've been in business for 10 years, you're going to be given resources and support to help get your business in position to completely optimize your ability to take advantage of these opportunities. So I just want to set that as kind of context. That's the goal of the agencies. That's the goal of the program that you're going to hear more about shortly. So just by way of introduction, a little bit about our firm. So again, the firm's Merriwether and Williams. We're actually a licensed property and casualty insurance brokerage firm, which a lot of people don't quite see the connection between a firm that's involved in insurance and a firm that's providing technical assistance to contractors. But some of the areas, many of the areas that are problematic for contractors to participate in public construction all center around the issues of risk and the mitigation of risk and the management of risk, because that's what informs qualification requirements. That's what informs requiring things like bonding. And those are things that come out of the risk management industry. And so that's really the connection between a firm like ours that's in the risk management arena. We just approach it in a way that we try to help agencies see how they can both mitigate risk, but also do it in a way that still enable access to opportunities and inclusion. So that's really, what I think is most important for you to know about our firm. We have offices in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Oakland, and we can relate to some of the challenges that you encounter. We're a small firm, we're a woman-owned firm, and we're a minority-owned firm. And so, as you can see, the composition of our firm is very diverse. And as a minority and woman-owned business, we can relate to some of the challenges, especially those kind of institutional ones that many of our small businesses that we work with encounter as well. Next slide. Okay, so just want to give you a general understanding about the core components of the Contractor Development and Bonding Assistance Program. I know it's a long name, and it could be even longer, because if we included all the services and resources that are available to you, it would be a paragraph. But I want to encourage you that this is just an overview, and the best way for you to really learn and understand how these resources can make a significant difference in your business, we really would encourage you to reach out to one of our account managers. As Mildred said, we have somebody live on chat, one of our account managers. So please, as we go through this, if this strikes you as something that could benefit your firm, put your information in the chat, put your email, and we will follow up with you. And we'll give you many ways that you can make contact with us, but I just want to encourage you to do that. So again, one key objective to the program is reduce the barriers of bonding, contract financing, or capital capacity to enable greater and successful participation of small local minority, disabled, woman-owned businesses in public contracting opportunities. That's the overarching purpose of the program. And that's done really with a foundation of what we call the 4 pillars. So as you can see, the first pillar on the left says assessment and technical assistance. So that's where the process starts. When you enroll in the program, the first thing we do is work with you to assess your business. Where are you now? Again, you might have just gotten your contractor's license and just looking at starting your business and opening your doors, or you may be a very mature business that's just trying to grow and get to the next level, and anything in between. And so we start with an assessment that we do with you to really ascertain where there are opportunities and resources that we can provide you, give you greater technical support and assistance to really help position you for some of these contracting opportunities. And I want to say that what is important, I think, to understand what may be a little different about the sponsored program you're hearing about today than other programs is that, you know, we don't require that you get your business to a certain place before we can provide you with resources. You may have access to opportunities now, even if there are areas of your business that need strengthening. And so we understand that, and we believe that they're not mutually exclusive, that you can do both, that you can work on improving some of the infrastructure or the financial management or whatever the areas of your business that aren't quite where you want them to be or where they need to be for you to do larger projects. We don't expect you to wait until you get to that place before you're in a position to pursue opportunities when those opportunities are coming your way now. So we really provide you with technical assistance and support along with the resources that you need to take advantage of immediate opportunities. So if you need bonds to bid or because you've been awarded a subcontract with a prime and you need to be able to provide a bond, if you need contract financing for a contract that you've been awarded or expect to be awarded, we don't make you wait. Those resources are available to you once you enroll in the program. And we also will work on some of those foundational elements of the business that may need strengthening as well. So it's not either or, it's and. The next pillar here that you see says bonding and contract financing assistance. So whether you're looking to bid directly with one of our sponsors, again, the City of LA, the County of LA, and LA Metro, and you need a bond in order to bid on that work, and maybe you can't qualify for the bond on your own, we're in a position to help you. That includes putting up collateral with a bonding company that makes a significant difference in their ability to support you with the bond that you may not otherwise qualify for. That is a resource available to you under the program. That's what makes this very different in that the agency sponsors who help fund this resource have invested significant dollars and resources to make sure you have the financial resources you need to be able to participate on their projects. Contract financing. So we all understand the challenge of access to working capital. We know what the environment is when you've been awarded a contract and you're, popping the cork and celebrating that, you bid on a contract and you've awarded it. And, the next day you have a little bit of a hangover. It's not just from the champagne, but it's from the realization that, oh my goodness, I've got this contract, I've got to fund it. I've got to come up with, $200,000 to cover payroll for the next 30 days because I'm going to hire a team of workers to get started. And we understand that the nature of public contracting is such that agencies will not pay for work until work is complete. So that means you work in 30-day cycles. You'll be expected to prosecute the contract from the time you receive notice to proceed, and you're going to be expected to fund the expenses associated with getting the work underway. Then you're going to submit a request for payment, a progress payment, a payment application after you've done 30 days of work, and then you're going to wait another 30 days to get paid. And that's only if everything works 100% as it's supposed to, which probably just doesn't happen all the time. And so that time cycle between when you have to start spending money to perform the contract and when you start getting paid back through progress payments, that's a burden. And it makes it more difficult for small firms who don't necessarily have lines of credit, who don't necessarily have just, lumps of cash sitting in the bank to fund that work. And the agencies recognize and understand what a burden that is. And so we have the capacity, if you are awarded a contract with one of these sponsors, I'll keep saying it, City of LA, LA Metro, and the County of LA, we have the ability of providing you funding at the beginning of that contract, before you have started the work, to enable you to have the capital to begin starting the work and to cover that cash flow gap between the dollars you have to put out and the time you're going to get those dollars back. The next pillar you see is education, training, and contract support. So education and training obviously is central to what we do. It's central to help you build capacity. It's core to your ability to grow and to take your business to another level of development. And so you'll see, you've probably seen many things come from us, training academies, workshops. It's really limitless in terms of the education and training forum that we make available to you if you're a participant in the Contractor Development and Bonding Assistance Program. Contract support, and actually I'm not going to talk a lot about that because that's my colleague's role, but it's really important for you to understand that this is not a program where, you know, we help you maybe get a bond or get some financing and then kind of wish you well and hope it all goes great for you. We stay with you through successful completion of the contract. You have support through this agency-backed program to make sure that you successfully complete the contract. That's what everybody wants. And so there's a significant amount of support, advocacy, intervention sometimes to make sure that the path for you to successfully complete the work stays clear. And then the last pillar here, certainly not the least, is the partnerships that we have with the prime contractors. We understand that for many of you, you're going to be working as subcontractors. And so key to a program like this is to have partnerships and collaborations with the primes. And the primes see a value in a program like this because we're helping to mitigate that risk that they're oftentimes concerned about. When they know that they're looking at a subcontractor who is a participant in this program, they know the resources that that contractor has available to them. They know we can help them bond the project. They know that we can help them with funding of the project. And those are oftentimes their areas of greatest concern. And so really this is a resource and a tool and a solution to address the issue of risk that puts you in a better position for consideration with a prime contractor. Next slide. I'm not going to go into this in detail, just in very simple terms. A bond is really inherent in public construction contracting because essentially a public agency has to act as a fiduciary over public funds. And so that means that the contractors they hire to perform public works or public construction have to be bonded. It's mandated by law. It's something called the Miller Act. And essentially it says that the public funds have to be protected. If a contractor who is hired to do public construction fails to complete their construction, fails to honor the terms in the contract, or in other words, is defaulted, or fails to pay the contract related expenses to material suppliers and subcontractors, and they put a lien on the project or file stop notices. That just can't happen when it comes to public construction. So a bond serves the purpose to ensure the public agency that were something like that to occur, they would have recourse. They would be able to go to the bonding company and say, hey, we had to default this contractor. They failed to complete their contract. And the bonding company then has the obligation to step in to provide a replacement contractor and to take on any cost above and beyond what's remaining in the contract to complete the work up to the amount of the bond, which is going to essentially be the amount of the contract. And so it's insurance, if you will, from a third-party source, a bonding company, that a public agency has recourse in the event they hire a contractor to perform work and it doesn't work out. So next slide. So again, one of the core elements of the contractor development and bonding program is to help you obtain, if you've never had bonding capacity before, or if you have bonding capacity, increase your bonding capacity. We talked a little bit about technical services. It's just a broad range of areas of technical assistance we can provide you, and it's all with the goal of helping you build your capacity. We talked about the contract-based financing program. I saw somebody ask where the funding came from. I saw that in the chat, and we have partnerships with CDFIs, community development financial institutions, who essentially have money, and it's funding that their mission of their organization is to make this type of funding available to minority and small business who could not otherwise qualify for traditional financing from, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. And so we've partnered up with these CDFI firms to basically be able to deploy the funding that they have for businesses like yours, but they've run them through the infrastructure of our contractor development and bonding programs. And so that funding looks like, $250,000 is the cap oftentimes, yet case by case, we've done loans that are larger than that, $500,000. And it's funding that is available to you exclusively for the purpose of providing you the financial capacity and cash flowing you for a project contract that you have been awarded with one of the program sponsors. When you enroll in the contractor development and bonding program, you are assigned to a dedicated account manager. Their global objective for you is business development. It is all about helping you grow your business, access new contract opportunities. And that's where then the technical assistance, bonding, contract financing support comes into play as well. And so with a dedicated account manager, you are one of a portfolio of contractors that account manager handles. They get to know your business intimately. They want to understand, your areas of trade, your specialty areas, because they're interfacing with primes. We are looking at what's going out to bid. And so we talk about their role in helping you with business development, because as one of their contractor portfolio members, they are always looking for opportunities that are specific to your business. We talked already about the collateral support. So again, with bonding, where needed, we can provide you what is agency-backed resources. That means we put up letters of credit on your behalf with a bonding company to help you qualify for a bond. So, I want to underscore that because, it's really important for everybody to understand the level of investment, commitment, and risk that the agencies are supporting in providing this program and the resources. So if the County of Los Angeles says, we want to help this contractor get bonded so that he can bid on this project, and if he's awarded this project, he or she, we know they need help to get the bond so they can be awarded the work. We're willing to put up $250,000 of collateral to back this contractor to help them qualify for the bond. That's essentially how this works. And so I underscore that for you to understand really the significance in terms of the resources of the program and the financial commitment that the agencies are making to it. One of the other services that we can provide you with is to help cover some of the costs associated with accounting. Because the cornerstone of underwriting for bonding and contract financing is really your financial statements. And we know it's costly to work with a CPA, so we have a subsidy to help fund some of that cost. And in addition to that, we have CPAs and accounting firms that work closely with the program that we can refer you to that can help you get your financials in a place that they're in the form and structure that bonding companies are looking for, or that's necessary for contract financing. And then you get information about upcoming bid opportunities, projects. You all have probably seen numerous emails from us, so are probably already aware of that. Next slide. So here's just what you need to know, some of the details about participating in the program. So what's necessary to be eligible for the services that you've heard about and you will hear about. Basically, you have to be a small business in LA County. That's pretty much it. So there's not a whole lot of other criteria. In some cases, if we're going to provide you with bonding collateral, you have to be certified with that agency. But really, that's pretty much it. You have to be a small contractor within LA County. I'm going to pass over some of this. This is more about contract financing. Again, this is best done in a session with an account manager or at the time you're interested in contract financing. The one thing I will mention about contract financing that you see over on the right side of this column is the interest rate. Now, this interest rate, we should probably put here that that's what it was as of a certain date. Everybody knows interest rates are fluctuating right now, and that's no different than in this program. But as of the last contract-based financing loan we did, the interest rate was 6.25%. And so these are not usury rates. These aren't credit card rates. For the most part, these are interest rates that are highly competitive and likely at lower cost than what you might encounter if you went to a traditional lender. Next slide. I'm going to soon wrap this up and move this over. I really already talked about the assessment. One thing I didn't mention, after we do that assessment that I talked about earlier, the account manager will work with you to create a tailored work plan for your agency. So from the assessment, we work with you to identify where are all the areas of opportunity that we can provide you assistance, technical support, bonding, contract financing, to help position your firm for growth and position you for contract opportunities. That's what the work plan is for. Contractor profile, that's a nice piece of marketing collateral that we will help you develop that has visuals of projects that you've been involved in the past, that has important information about your firm, all your certifications, so that you have something that you can share with a prime or with an agency or even with your colleagues that, you know, it's just a quick one-page information sheet about your business. We can help you around the areas of certification. You're going to hear more from Robert about bid document review, technical assistance we provide. Robert will talk about contract completion support. We've talked about training, so we can move on to the next slide. And I think pretty soon I'm going to turn this over to my colleague. Perfect timing. Thank you. So at this point, I'm going to hand the virtual microphone off to Robert Lowry. Robert heads up our field support role, project manager, but you know that really barely begins to describe the arena that Robert operates in. And so with that, Mr. Lowry, it's yours.
Good. Thank you, Ingrid. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to briefly go over some of our support that I do with bid document review. Next slide. Okay. So there's a little bit of a disclaimer that we have listed here. So we will help you with your bid document review, but we will not go into your numbers, your quantities. You know, that is, we do not want to take on that risk. So, but I can suggest, you know, if I'm looking at your general conditions or something, ask you, did you include certain things to make sure that you have covered? But I just want to put that disclaimer out there at the very beginning. You know, we're here to help as much as we can. You know, when these opportunities do arise, we do attend, myself and a account manager, one of the two will attend. I will also get the documents and review them. The account manager will sit together if time allows to review them. You know, I will look for any types during the contract review and plans and specs. I'll review and identifying any risks that might come up. You know, one big thing is scope gap. With the plans, you know, you're reading through, if you're electrical, you're going to go to the e-sheets, you're reading, you're giving out just your quantity there, but there might be notes on the mechanical, the architect that you miss. So those where I go through and say, hey, make sure you look out on this page, you know, there, because we want to make sure that you have a complete number, and the scope, and identifying exactly what you're doing. That is the key thing there, within the specs, reviewing it, if there's a mock-up that you need to do, that the price is included, your submittals, all that kind of your billing. So that's critical. Understand your quality control, testing. So we're here because a lot of the newer companies, are not really familiar with that. And, these specs books, we call them books, they could be a couple hundred pages. It's like understanding what you're really looking for, the plans, going through that. If it is a design build, understanding the system, they're giving you the basis of design, but you are then going to take it as the expert to build it. So, working with you through a lot of that stuff is really critical to helping you being a successful and responsive bidder with it. We will ask you to fill out the forms. Then we'll set up a meeting with you to go through the forms, make sure everything's correct. The thing is, you do not want to be disqualified for leaving something blank. So we'll tell you, hey, if this doesn't apply, put NA. We'll make sure that if it needs to be notarized, identify that, signatures. If you're missing signatures on these documents, you'll be deemed as non-responsive. So it's really critical that we spend enough time to go through these documents. It could be 2 to 3 meetings with you to get it right. So once you have put everything together, we would love to sit down one more time and just to look at and massage it to make sure that you're have a very responsive bid. That's the critical thing. If you're a subcontractor, making sure that you are getting it to the prime, or if you're going to be the prime, bidding it to the agency, understanding all their requirements, insurance requirements, the bond. So we're here as a one-stop shop doing this critical time of bid document review. We want to make sure you're successful bid. So after you have submitted the bid, there is either you've been successful, you've won it, or you didn't. So we'll do a post bid debrief. And this is to help you understand your deficiencies. Okay, what did you do wrong? You will see the numbers from other contractors that have bid on job with public works. Everything is public, so you'll see the numbers. We can say, okay, this is your weakness, how to improve it your next go around. It's just a work in progress with this bid document review. It's something that I love doing. This is one of my passions, is helping. After almost 30 years of being in the construction business as a project manager, so I do know a little bit tricks of the trades with this part here. Next slide, please. Okay, so once you are the most responsive and successful bidder, we will do a project kickoff. This is where I have a checklist, this job start checklist. You go through this and making sure that you have identified your key personnel, who's going to be doing your payroll, your admin, all this you want to identify, because if time is associated with it, it's a cost associated. So we really want to make sure that all is captured there. Once we have the kickoff meeting, we will have the kickoff meeting with yourself, the hiring agency, our team, funds control. So everybody comes together. We walk through the process of why we are doing this very important step of project completion. Every month we receive your contract or principal status reports. It's like a monthly check-in to see where the job is progressing. We do field visits, we help out with safety. This is part of the monthly check-in. We help you with your billings if you have questions. The construction schedule, change orders requests, to help you keep moving through the job to a successful completion. The change order review is critical because you do not want to have a lot of change orders at the end of your job. The thing is to get them reconciled monthly, so you can bill for that. That's time you have spent out in the field. The next step is you're now at the closeout. What do we have to do to help you with closeouts? Those are your documents, your payments, punch list items, and if it's collateral, how do we get your collateral release, your retention? So this is critical with closeout phase. So this is just some of the things that we do with contract support. So next slide, I believe that's about it. So if you have any additional questions, here's our contact information. We can take you further and getting you enrolled and helping you out to grow the capacity of your business. So with that, I want to thank you guys, and I'm going to now turn it back over to our hosts. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And before we go on to the next, to the rest of our panel, we have a contractor testimonial from Ernie Moreno, owner of Martin Construction.
Squeezing it in. My name's Ernie Moreno. I'm the owner of Martin Construction. We specialize in concrete, anywhere from decorative concrete, sidewalk, curbs, gutters, basically anything concrete that's flat work. That's what we do. I've been the owner for about 3 years now. So when I became the owner, maybe about a year afterwards, we heard about a project with LAWA for LAX people mover project. Because I was the new owner, we didn't have that trust with the bonding agencies or with the banks to be able to get the bonding for the size that this project required. The project was about a $10 million job. So we needed the bonding to be able to cover that project, which it was pretty hard to get. We wouldn't have got it, basically. Our bonding agent at the time referred us to you guys and put me in touch with Rosa, and Rosa walked me through the project of, the process of how to be able to qualify for the bonding that you guys provided. And well, at the end of everything, I was able to qualify and got the bonding required for $9.7 million worth of work with LAX. Without the program, my company wouldn't have came close to getting the size of work that this qualified us for. In the past, we were able to get small contracts with LAUSD and the city of Los Angeles, but nothing near this size. So, the program is amazing. It benefited us. We have probably a few years worth of work with the LAWA project at LAX. So my guys are staying busy, I'm staying busy, and I'm thankful to have found this program and to have gotten the help that I needed. Squeezing it in.
Many thanks to Ernie Moreno. He couldn't be with us today, but he allowed us to show his testimonial in the hopes that other small and diverse contractors will participate in the program and grow their business. And now we have a poll question for the audience. After hearing all about the benefits and services of CDAP, would you like to enroll in the program to receive free technical assistance and resources? I'll give the audience 30 seconds to respond. Thank you all to all who participated. And now on to our panel. Here to speak on the importance of certifications and give an overview of the government procurement process, please welcome Jessica Morales, Acting Supervisor in the Office of Small Business in the Department of Economic Opportunity.
Hi, and thank you so much for the introduction and having us here again. We are super excited. I am in the Department of Economic Opportunity. It is one of the county's newest established departments. I oversee the Office of Small Business, and I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. This is an overview of our services in the Office of Small Business. So we have 4 kind of pillar programming right now. So our concierge, which is our opportunity to counsel new or pre-venture entrepreneurs and getting started with LA County permits and licensing. The small business counseling, which again, kind of expands that counseling for established businesses who are interested in doing business specifically with the County of Los Angeles and providing certification information and onboarding you into doing business with the county. And then we have our Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which is our federally funded program that allows us to counsel businesses who are more well-established and are looking to expand their purview of government contracting to other local, state, or federal organizations. We also oversee several American Rescue Plan programs, which are federally funded programs that are geared toward assistance for small businesses or nonprofits. Namely the Legal Aid for Small Business program, which has already launched, which allows for an income-based small business to receive free legal assistance and free legal counseling, or potentially attend trainings and webinars around legal issues that are pertinent to small businesses. And that includes assistance with commercial lease agreements, or an overview of general contracting, like pitfalls that you may need to be aware of. We also are going to be launching the Economic Opportunity Grants Program, which has grants in distribution of sizes of 2,500, 15,000, 20,000, and 25,000 that will become available for micro businesses, entrepreneurs, small businesses, very small nonprofits, and our small nonprofits in the community. We're looking to launch that program mid to late October. So stay tuned. We'll have more information on that. Sorry, next slide. So this is an overview of government procurement. You've heard a lot of information about the government contracting process, and there is kind of this is a very oversimplified kind of view of it, but your 10,000 foot in the air view is there's a registration, and that's your entry point. There's certification, which is going to connect you to some sort of a benefit that will increase your opportunities and potentially increase your ability to win awards. Then there's government market research, procurement training. You're already involved in that. So some of these things kind of run concurrently. And then responding to solicitations, marketing, and networking. So what happens after you've done all this training, you're ready to go. You want to start putting together those proposals or quotes as they come through. Next slide. This is our certification program. So these are specific to LA County. We have 7 different designations. We have our local small business, disabled veteran business enterprise, social enterprise, women-owned business enterprise, minority, disadvantaged business enterprise, and LGBTQ certification designations. The first 2 the first 3 are referenced as preference program enterprises, because this certification has both a utilization goal attached to 2 of the programs, as well as a 15% non-monetary reduction in your proposed cost that's evaluated at the close of a bid or a solicitation. 25% utilization goal means 1/4 of county contracting dollars should be being reinvested into our local small business community, or 3% into our DVBE. For social enterprise, we don't have an established utilization goal for that program, but we do have a specialized master agreement, which is a procurement tool that allows you to only compete with other social enterprises that have been certified. For the Community Business Enterprise Program, we have a 25% participation goal. That is looking at like the presence of MBEs, WBEs, DBEs, and LGBTQ type business owners that are participating in any of our contracts, whether it's at a subcontracting level, supplier level, or at least participating in the procurement process. So we are collecting that information on every solicitation so that we can ensure that we are being inclusive and that there is more equity in our policies around how we engage diverse small businesses. Next slide. Awesome. So this is an overview of our preference program benefits. So that 15% price preference that I mentioned earlier, eligibility for the simplified acquisition process, which is another procurement tool that's available only to certified preference program enterprises. And then listing on our certification database, which is publicly distributed, but also publicly accessible so that you can download and create bid lists for different types of products or services, depending on what you're looking for. The 15-day prompt payment stamp right now, it's an LSBE benefit only. We are in the process of trying to expand that to all of the preference program entities. And then next slide. So these are the eligibility requirements for our small business program. We really try to mirror the state when this first initially passed in 2016 to create the utilization program. You have to be located in the County of Los Angeles for the most recent 12 months. You have to have 100 or fewer employees. You have to have gross annual receipts of 15 million or less, or 3.5 million to be considered a micro business. For manufacturers, there is not a revenue cap, but you do have to have under 25 employees, and you have to have an active certification already with either DGS, which is the state Department of General Services, or with Metro. So that is where partnering and kind of tapping into your network partners that are here today and getting yourself onboarded into those other programming is going to be really helpful to expedite you onto the LSBE program as well. If you are outside of the county, and this is where we receive federal funding for a solicitation that does not allow for a geographic preference to be applied, you have to be active on the system for award management. You have to be considered a small business concern based on your primary needs codes, and you have to provide us with the current information for your UEI. Thank you. All LSBs are also required to perform a commercial useful function. So this means that for an LSB prime or an LSB subcontractor on any contract or any procurement, really, whether it's a small procurement or it does result from a contract, you have to perform a distinct element of the work of that contract. You have to provide either personnel, you're managing, you're directly supervising the work that's being requested, and that you're performing work that is normal to your business's day-to-day operations. You're not subcontracting a portion of the work that's greater than expected by industry practice. So that one's a little more subjective. Essentially, you want to be doing a distinct element of the work, right? You want to make sure that if there is, an order for office supplies, that you have office supplies in your inventory, that you are delivering from that inventory, and that if there's an installation, maybe you subcontract the installation portion. You're not a pass-through business. So that's kind of the catch-all criteria. Next slide. This is the eligibility requirements for a DVBE certification program. So you do have to have an active DVBE certification with DGS or with as an SDV OSB with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. That essentially means you have to have a business that is 51% owned and operated by an eligible disabled veteran business or owner. There is no geographic restriction. This is a national designation, and you're automatically included in the county's community business enterprise program as well. Next slide. So social enterprise, this was a really new certification that was established with that 2016 small business utilization program that the Board of Supervisors passed. Not only did it, create those 25% utilization goals, which were upped from 8% and 3%, it also created this new designation. This is the only designation that the county has that allows for nonprofit organizations to participate and receive a benefit from a certification. It does require that the organization has a principal place of business or a major office located in LA County and has to meet any one of the following criteria. So not all of them are required, you just meet one. 1 year providing transitional jobs or including transitional services, support services to your workforce, that is at least 51% of your overall hire. Certified as a B corporation by B Labs, incorporated as a benefit corporation or social purpose corporation with the Secretary of State, or you're certified green from a government agency, which is really great for manufacturers who are practicing green programming. A business whose primary purpose is a common good as demonstrated through a mission statement and whose principal activity is directly related to accomplishing that social mission. So this is our broadest categorization of eligibility. And the reason that we kept it so broad is to really capture the diversity and how nonprofits are delivering different types of services to various target populations. So we had to be really vast and inclusive. So this is essentially saying you do some sort of good in your community, you capture how you do that good, and it's part of your regular business procedures, your practices, or delivery of direct service. Next slide. This one has a social impact assessment piece, which is a secondary requirement that the other programs don't necessarily have. And you have to provide copies of your social mission where they're published, whether they be on your website or via brochure, how it's integrated into your business model, and then what you're actually tracking to identify whether or not you're making an impact on that social mission. Next slide. These are examples of documentation that we might review in the course of a social impact assessment. You do have to upload them. You can, whatever documents you upload, we do have one-on-one counseling that happens after you've applied for certification. So we don't do direct denials. We do try to reach out at least 2 to 3 times per business, per application, to try and rectify any kind of inconsistencies on your certification application. That goes across all programming. Next slide. This is the PPE price bid preference. So this is essentially how it's going to be calculated. And if you can just click a couple times. Perfect. So what we're looking at here is that company 1 is the lowest bidder. Company 3 is the certified bidder. The 15% price bid reduction is calculated based on the lowest responsive bidder after a bid has closed. So 165,000 would be the lowest bid at the time that the evaluation first occurred. So you'd calculate 15%, which is 24,750, and then reduce that from any certified vendor. So if it creates a little bit more of an even playing field in terms of how you're submitting your costs, which can be a little bit higher than a larger business firm. And it allows you to receive that $24,000 reduction so that your new evaluated price is that $160,250 or $160,250 quote. So you become the new lowest responsive bidder for that particular solicitation. The 15% cannot exceed 150,000. And again, it is non-monetary, meaning that it is just an artificially lowered cost. So if you won the actual award, you'd still be entitled to whatever your original total proposed price was, which for company 3 was 185,000. And then next slide. Common procurement methods. So this is just a good reference to have when you're dealing with the county, is that there are different ways and different pathways in which a county buyer might be able to engage with your company, whether it's through a delegated authority, which means they have an allowable dollar threshold amount to go out and purchase directly through a minimum of 3 quotes, except where there's a SAP. Outside of delegated authority, which means that it's a higher dollar amount and requires public solicitation, meaning you're going to compete in an open process that has to get posted online, that has, the proposal time or a bidding period, and then a closure date, and then an evaluation process that follows, or an agreement purchase. So this is a master agreement, typically is how we refer to them at the county. This is for high volume, high usage, routine goods. So it's something that we regularly purchase, but we don't have a consistency in how often we're purchasing it. So things like elevator maintenance repair, you don't really know when you're going to need that service, but it is something that we have as an ongoing kind of call list. So as soon as a vendor is determined to have met the minimum agreement requirements, they're added onto that contract and then utilized as needed through a work order process. Department solicitation for services. So these are for service contracts that are over 200,000, have to be approved by the Board of Supervisors. So these are much larger. service contracts and might have other components, including, a request for your subcontractor plan, which should identify any CBE certified firms, any small businesses you're working with, any DVBEs that are being worked with as well. Okay, next slide. So a little more on the master agreement. This is probably the most utilized method of purchasing for as needed services and on items as well. So vendors are required to submit their qualifications through the solicitation process. Each minimum requirement depends on the scope of service that is housed within that master agreement. So the one for elevator service repair is going to be different than the one for, marketing and digital media or translation services. So it runs a really vast array of work scope. And you can always find the current master agreement opportunities. Most of them are continuous, meaning that they will onboard and accept a vendor's statement of qualifications throughout the time period. And then as other vendors expire, they'll onboard new vendors. And there's a rotation process for issuing work orders or purchase orders. And then next slide. So as I had mentioned previously, the Social Enterprise Master Agreement is an exclusive process for social enterprise certified firms. So it definitely narrows the competition between businesses that are going to be eligible to even participate on the Master Agreement, and then also businesses that may be available to win a work order or like a smaller solicitation therein. So this one is hosted by our department. It is, again, exclusively available for social enterprises. It is continuous and it seeks a bunch of different kind of service and product categories. There is different tiers so that it allows for newer businesses who maybe don't meet all the same eligibility requirements as those in the second tier, which are much more established businesses who probably have more insurance and are able to then do work at a higher volume. Okay, next slide. Simplified acquisition process. Again, a really great benefits for all the LSB, DVB, SEs. It allows departments to kind of circumvent that public posting for any purchases that are under 25,000 and over 5,000. So that's really where the benefit lies, is that they need fewer quotes and they can obtain 2 quotes from any certified firm for a much larger volume of purchasing amount without having to go to the doing business process, which is that public competitive solicitation. Okay, next slide. This is our certification platform. This is where you would go after you've registered as an LA County vendor. And I also have included the certification link in the resources page. So go ahead and let's keep going through this. This is what the landing page looks like. It allows you to update all your information. This is where you can select multiple application types at one time. Keep going. Thank you. This is a sample of the questionnaire. This one's only the social enterprise, but there are different questionnaires for each program. And then there's an acknowledgement page. This one has a requirement for the social impact assessment, which is different, but all of them can allow you to upload documents as needed, and they will tell you which documents to upload. And then the acknowledgement and submission. So this is just acknowledging that you are willing to abide by all the different sanctions that are associated with the preference programs, and that you provided all of the information that was correct under penalty of perjury. And these are our resources for ARPA. So this is the American Rescue Plan. If you have any questions on it, feel free to reach out to our department. And then this is more on the Economic Opportunity Grant Program. This is great for reference. And then again, if you have questions on how to get in touch with us, we do have, we are collecting businesses who are interested in learning more about this through our Office of Small Business General inbox. And these are our target populations for this program. And we'll keep going. Sorry, I know that we're running low on time, so I'm going to kind of speed through these last one. And then these are really important resources. So this is probably one of the most important. This is how you can get in touch with us. You can book an online counseling session where we can tell you all of these different menu of services. We can assist you with getting onboarded. All of our services are free. You can apply again online. You do have to be a registered vendor. And then last but not least, you do want to get information about how you can support the contracts that are going to be released in terms of ARP programming. So there's a ton of different services that the county is broadening its view with through the ARP funding process. So if you are curious or just want to get more information about what those contracts entail, go ahead and follow that CEO link and sign up for more information. And I will hand it back. This is my contact info, and I don't know if we have time for questions, but I'm going to hand it back to Mildred.
Thank you so much, Jessica Morales, for sharing the resources and information from the Department of Economic Opportunity. So thank you again. And this will be provided for all attendees in a thank you email, so please keep an eye out for that. And now to introduce the Los Angeles County Public Works, please welcome Gayan Zakarian, Contracts Manager and Chief of Administrative Operations.
Good afternoon. It's my honor to join you here today. I want to tell you guys a little bit about Public Works. Los Angeles County Public Works is one of the largest public works agency in the nation, with a workforce of 4,000 employees, and our annual budget is more than $2.7 billion. In fiscal year 21-22, Public Works awarded over $1.7 billion worth of contracts, which helped create over 21,000 jobs. That's a lot that we've done in last fiscal year. We've been working with our county departments and partners to help promote equity in county contracting. The Contractor Development and Bonding Assistance Program is one of the great efforts in removing any barriers in county contracting, so small businesses like yours can successfully compete for construction projects. At this point, I would like to introduce Amy Lee from my team, who will be present on how to begin the process to doing business with Public Works. Amy assists to oversee the business outreach program in our division, and that section will provide business-friendly contracting opportunities, as well as a broad range of other programs designed to promote local economic growth. And we always look forward to work with small businesses like you. So Amy, go ahead.
Thank you, Gayan, and thank you to Ingrid and her team for having us. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday and happy first day of setting yourself up for a successful time with Public Works contracting. So my name is Amy Lee, and I am with the Business Relations and Contracts Division at LA County Public Works. Gayan already spoke a little bit on what Public Works does, but essentially Public Works touches on many things. I think a lot more than most people realize, from water to waste management to transportation to vertical and horizontal construction. Lots of things that are critical to our LA County constituents that we could not possibly do alone. And that's where you as contractors come in. Next slide. So here in the business outreach section, we implement a lot of programs that lift up communities and individuals through contracting. Gayan already mentioned the number of jobs that were created and the contracts awarded. More so now than ever, the county has been committed to creating more equity in county contracting through these programs and promoting accessibility and removing some of the identified barriers that LSBEs, DVBEs, SEs, or other targeted businesses might face. So how do you work with the county? Next slide. Well, the first step is to become a county vendor. Before you can even begin to do business with the county, we need to know who you are and what services or products you can provide. Registering with ISD, our internal services department, allows you to do that, and you need to even register before you submit a bid or proposal. Next slide. Step number 2 is certified with LA County. I won't go into this too much because Jessica did such a great job just diving into the different types of county certifications, and she is just the best resource in this area. Just know that if you want any and all of those benefits that she mentioned, you need to certify with LA County. Next slide. Once that's done, you're ready to go, and the rest is really up to you to land a bid or a contract. Next slide. In order to even land a contract, though, you're going to need to know exactly where to look, and that's dobusinesswithpublicworks.com. If there's one link you're taking away from this presentation, please click on it. It's going to be provided in the chat somewhere. It has all the information I'm going to go over in this presentation and more. Next slide. So in here, you can, on the website, you can search opportunities by filtering for your type of business, wherever you fit in, whether it's infrastructure, building, professional purchasing, or sundry for things like graffiti removal or on-call transportation services. That's available to you for you to filter out so you can really hone in on what you're looking for. Next slide. And you can even search for opportunities by their status. Whether, actually, can you do one more? One more. Okay, yeah, so you can even search opportunities by their status, whether it's closed, awarded, and probably what you're most interested in, open and upcoming. We currently have roughly, excuse me, 20 opportunities open at the moment, and we already have 75 upcoming opportunities listed on the page, 75 of which you can start preparing for, either getting your bids or proposals together, or to start getting in touch and partnering with other businesses that will help you become more competitive. Next slide. So if you're looking at open opportunities, there's a few key items that you really want to pay attention to. The first one is the proposal due date and time. You might not want to miss that. The contact person or the contract administrator, they're going to be your best resource on any questions that you may have, clarification things. The RFP documents. So these RFP documents are so important, and you want to make sure that you read them carefully so that you're submitting your proposal according to exactly what is being requested in those documents. And obviously, then you can proceed with the bid instructions. Next slide. When you're competing for a contract, you can create an account, and I highly, highly recommend you do so that you can register for that specific project. That way you'll get automatic emails when any addendum are released. It also publishes your contact information so that other contractors can reach out and partner with you. Next slide. And that happens whether you're a prime or a sub. It's good to register and be a plan holder. If you're a sub looking to partner with primes, this is a good place for you to really put your company name out there so that primes can reach out to partner with you. Even if you're listed as a prime and you don't get awarded, there's still opportunities and chances for you to partner with the winning prime for the opportunities in the future. Next slide. Okay, so set yourself up for success. There's so many resources and opportunities available in the county. Make it so that you've done everything you could in preparation for when that perfect opportunity arises. Make sure you're registered first so you can even do business with the county. We talked about that. Make sure you get certified through our new Department of Economic Opportunity. Take advantage of those benefits. You want to sign up as a plan holder, register for any open opportunities, and stay in the know and network with those prime contractors. We even have the active as needed, and you want to sift through those contractors and see if you can, reach out to them and set up those partnerships. Merriwether has already talked about the contractor development and bonding assistance program, so you know of the many benefits that program can provide. And make sure you're also on their contractor weekly email blast so that you get notified of the program and what metro, city, and county opportunities are coming up. So it is very crucial that you fill out your bid documents correctly. You have the resources available to do so. We've already talked about CDABP and how they can provide you some technical assistance. We also talked about the contract administrators who are, their information, their contact information is there for you as a resource so that you have, so don't be afraid to ask any questions and make sure you're signed up to receive those notifications, because any questions that are asked at the pre-bid or proposers meetings get posted so that everyone has that access to that information. And information will always be your greatest resource. Stay ahead of the latest and upcoming opportunities. And about the pre-proposal meetings, attending those pre-bid and pre-proposal meetings, if they have them, it's a great way to just build partnerships, keep your company name out there, and just be able to kind of network with those in your industry. So this next slide, we have many opportunities in SD3 that are upcoming. Hopefully after this presentation, you won't necessarily need to attend an event like this in order to know what's coming up in the public works contracting world, because you'll know exactly where they are, and that's in the upcoming tab of the opportunities. Next slide. This is my favorite and greatest tip of this presentation. Please, please, please subscribe to our Do Business with Public Works newsletter so that you can get weekly notifications on new opportunities and any other great resources for businesses just like yours. Our team puts a lot of pride and joy in these email blasts, and you'll be the first to know what new opportunities are available that week or any events coming up, such as this event that, this great event that we're hosting right now or holding right now, and resources that are available to you. Like I said, this is, kind of our pride and joy, and we want to make sure that you don't really think that it's spam, because we only provide you every week with the newest opportunities. Next slide. Okay, and that concludes our presentation. Our contact information is available on the screen here. Feel free to reach out if you want to connect with our team or just have any additional questions. We're always happy to hear from you all. And with that, I will turn it over to Mildred and our friends and colleagues at Metro. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you again for giving us a good understanding of how to do business with Public Works. And for our final panelist, we have Olga Lopez. She comes from the Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department's Small Business Outreach Team.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you. Thank you so much, Ingrid, and all of the Merriwether and Williams friends, and of course, our colleagues in the field. And goodness, what great information. But I don't know if you, small business, noticed what is important from, as we heard from all of the presenters, even before me, what is important with any of our agencies is to register as a vendor. And that they are so right. That is the same advice that we give all those businesses who are interested in doing business with LA Metro. Register as a vendor. It's very important. Thank you. Next slide, please. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I am representing Metro's Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department, and I'm so happy to hear that the LA County has a very similar department as ours. Definitely, we are one agency or one entity doing the same thing, and that is to provide access to the small businesses in sharing what opportunities are available with each of our agencies. At Metro, DEOD is a unit of vendor contract management. And in DEOD, we are responsible for all of Metro's small business programs, which includes our Metro Connect. And our commitment is to the growth and success of small business. We aim to increase the opportunity for small businesses through the various efforts that will provide greater access and transparency in the agency's procurement process. Next slide, please. We are who you can consider your friends on the inside. We advocate for the small business. We serve as system navigators. And our responsibility under DEOD is to administer and oversee the small business program initiatives that are available. We publicize the contract opportunities. We provide training, resources, and we set goals on our contracts. If you're a DBE, SBE, and a DVBE, you will definitely benefit from these opportunities. And last but not least, we have the responsibility of monitoring compliance. Next slide, please. And what I'd like to share with you today is why is it important to get certified with Metro in this case? Well, small business certifications is very similar to professional certifications. It documents a status that is going to help you compete in the marketplace. It's going to increase your visibility before the prime contractors. Prime contractors, as our friends has mentioned before I presented, they are required to meet SBE or DBE utilization goals. As a certified firm, you are critical to the prime contractor's ability to successfully meet these goals. It also levels the playing field by providing a fair opportunity to compete for federally or non-federally funded transportation contracts for certified small business owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Next slide, please. At Metro, we certify and we accept two types of certifications. We accept the DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. This program requires that the applicant be socially and economically disadvantaged as it is outlined in CFR 49, Part 26. Metro is a member of the California Unified Certification Program, CUCP. And we accept DBEs that are certified by other member agencies as well. Now, we also accept the SBE, the Small Business Enterprise. However, the SBE program is unique to Metro and mirrors the DBE program, but is race and gender neutral. And the reason we say that it's unique is because we only accept Metro's SBE certification. Sorry. The third certification that I mentioned, the DBBE, the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise, we accept this certification. And as you may or may not be aware, this certification is provided by the Department of General Services, DGS. We accept that. Next slide, please. The requirements for DBE and SBE. You must be an independent business organized for profit. Your personal net worth must be less than 1.32 million. The annual gross receipts in a 5-year average must be less than 26.29 million. And the qualifying individuals in control of management and daily business operations. 51% ownership by one or more economically disadvantaged individual is also a requirement. Next slide, please. The additional requirements for DBE must be socially disadvantaged, and these groups are any individual who's a citizen of the US or lawfully admitted permanent resident who is a member of at least one of the following groups: African Americans, Hispanic, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, Subcontinent Asian Americans, and women. Next slide, please. The online certification, which Metro manages, and we were the first agency that under the California Unified Certification Program implemented an online certification and management system. This application has been designed to streamline the process for applicants and eliminate the need of hard copy submissions. It is now all submitted online. It's a user-friendly platform. It keeps track and checks on the status of your application. It offers free webinar system training to walk you through the form and the process. And it also offers a 24-hour technical support. Next slide, please. Here is where you can access the online application at metro.gov2g.com. If you have additional questions, I strongly encourage you regarding certification. I strongly encourage you to contact our certification unit at metro.net or you can also visit our webpage, our vendor portal, metro.net/connect. There's also a hotline number. Now, if you recall from when I began my presentation, I talked about the Metro Small Business Programs. Well, here are 3 of our major small business programs, which we have at Metro, the Small Business Prime Set Aside. And if you recall, I mentioned that we at Metro, the SBE certification is unique. If you have Metro's SBE program, here's where you could take advantage essentially of the set-asides that we have available within our agency. We also have, once you graduate, if you will, from the SBE, we have a medium-sized business enterprise, and we hope that everyone in this room will one day have the opportunity to graduate into our medium-sized business enterprise program, and there's opportunities there as well. And we also have a contracting outreach and mentoring plan, which we call COMP. Next, please. So under the SB Prime, we were cited by U.S. Best Practice by Lisk LA, Millikan Institute, Bruce Katz, Brookings Institute. Metro is the groundbreaking program allowing SBEs to compete as primes. SBE, under this program, if you're an SBE, you can compete only against other SBEs on competitively negotiated RFPs that are from $3,000 up to $5 million, federal and non-federally funded contracts. We have many successful stories of those small businesses who have an SBE and have taken advantage of this program, who are bidding under this program, and we're very excited about this, and I will show you in a little bit how we are tracking them. SBEs compete only against other SBEs, also under low bids from $3,000 to $3 million. Flipped the business model, SBEs, what that means is that SBEs serve as primes in large businesses and are subs built-in mentorship, meaning under the SBE program, you come in and you bid as a prime, and as long as you perform 30% of the job, the remaining 70%, you turn around and you hire a subconsultant, a major prime contractor, and they will perform the remaining job, and you're bidding, you're acting as the prime contractor under these SBE set-asides. The overall impact is over $188 billion that have been awarded since the launch, and this continues to grow. So please, if you have an opportunity and if you qualify as an SBE, we strongly encourage you to look at the solicitations that we include in our vendor portal for SB primes. Next slide, please. The medium-sized business enterprise, MIS. It's a new set-aside that bridges the gap between small business and large business concerns. MIS is a firm that is not subsidiary of another firm, with a 3-year average between 25 million to 250 million is the maximum. And that is the gross annual receipts and maximum of 250 employees. This information will be validated by Metro to ensure that you qualify under the MIS program. And how it works is Metro invites firms of any size to bid on the propose under the MIS program. If we receive 2 or more responses under the MIS bidders, it will trigger a set-aside. If we receive less than 2, then these solicitations are then open for the entire community to have the opportunity to bid. Next slide, please. There is a new change that took place. It's going to be almost a year now. So there is a new two-tiered Ms. 1 and Ms. 2. I am not going to go in full detail about this slide. I do understand that these slides are going to be made available for all who are attending here. I'm also going to encourage you to join us at Metro's How to Do Business with Metro. We go in full detail in explaining the difference of the programs that we have available at our agency. Now, the How to Do Business with Metro workshops, we host them every second Tuesday of the month. And what's neat about our How to Do Business with Metro workshops, we always include a prime contractor who is usually our guest speaker during How to Do Business workshops, and they will talk to us they will share with our small business community the opportunities that are available with their firms. So please, I invite you to join us. And with that, may we please go to the next slide. The comp, the mentoring, the contracting outreach and mentoring plan. If there's the RFPs that we have and IFBs that are 25 or higher $1 million are required to submit a plan. And typically these are contracts, these are RFPs that are for capital projects. So the architecture and engineer and A&E are exempt. But the objective of this program is to measurably grow the capacity of our DBEs, SBEs, and the DBBE firms. The bidders or the proposers, in this case, the major prime contractors, must host an outreach event prior to submittal, provide innovative, measurable mentoring plan and evaluation criteria, identify mentors and proteges, and specify subcontracting approach for Metro's review and approval. Next slide. I see Mildred, are we short on time? Just this slide and that's it. I mentioned earlier about our How to Do Business with Metro workshops that we host on a monthly basis. We also host our TBAC, Transportation Business Advisory Council. If you're interested in joining and being a member, these meetings are held the first Thursday of every month. But again, do not forget to register as a Metro vendor. Please visit the vendor portal at metro.net/connect. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Olga. And now for closing remarks, please welcome back Ingrid Merriwether.
Great, thank you, Mildred, and thank you, Olga. Olga comes with such depth of information and her knowledge about the ranges of certification and what's required, you can see is just innate when she speaks. So clearly a woman who is very knowledgeable about the process with Metro. We encourage you to take advantage of the invite that she shared with all of you on their How to Do Business with Metro events. You'll likely see us there. So we apologize, we're a little over time. We want to thank you again. We hope you felt that this time spent was well worth it. And, it should be clear that with as much density as we had in a little over an hour and a half, that there is a lot for you to know. And there is a lot with each agency in terms of how to position yourself, what resources they have, how to do business with them. And so I would encourage you that if you're not already enrolled in the Contractor Development and Bonding Program, that you might consider getting enrolled, because navigating through all of what you just heard might be a little challenging to do it kind of entity by entity, like where do I start? And I just want to suggest that the Contractor Development and Bonding Program is an excellent place to start the process. Any agency that you heard from today, in addition to the city, anything about certification, anything about pre-qualifications, anything about how do you qualify for some of the master contract opportunities. Really, any question that comes to you or area of interest that you have and you just want to know, where can I get some help to get started? That's us. That's why we're here. That's why these agencies have joined forces to support the creation of this program, because they recognize kind of how daunting it is to navigate the process with each of them. So we're here to help you start that process. We're connected to all of the folks that you heard from today. If we can't address the issue directly with you or figure it out ourselves, we certainly know how to connect you with the right source to get that information. So with that, I want to thank you again. I want to thank all of our presenters, our agency representatives from Metro and from the county, our supervisor who opened us up, my own colleagues at Merriwether and Williams, and 3D Network that really does an amazing job organizing and convening. I know we might make it look easy, but pulling these together really is a task in and of itself. So I want to thank my own team. And with that, wish you all a pleasant evening, and we look to see you back at our next convening. Have a good one.